So today, polite phrases and pronouns, but we're not going to be doing a bunch of sentences or anything like that. So these are just short little words that'll be helpful to you. Okay? So I know some of you know some of these already, so today might be an easy day for you. Wie sagt man yes? How do you say yes? Yeah, good. Anybody know how to spell it? J-A. Yeah, well, it's pronounced like a Y, but it's actually a J. Okay? So ja means yes. Wie sagt man no? How do you say no? Nein. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you know how to spell that one? N-E-I-N. Yeah, sometimes people flip-flop the I and the E, but when you say it, nine, you pronounce the I, nine, I. So that one's the second one. Okay? Wie sagt man and? Anybody know how to say and? Und. Yep, we talked about that one yesterday if you wanted to use it in your skits. So, und. Okay, everybody try that one. Und. Okay, and that's and. What about thank you? Danke. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of variations. So there's danke, danke schön, tausend Dank, vielen Dank, you know, danke sehr, all those. So there's a whole bunch. So the base word that you just need for right now is danke. Not danke, danke. Right. There's another word. It's a little bit more multi-purpose. It's two T's. Yeah, everybody try that one. Bitte. Okay. Bitte is more multi-purpose than most words. Okay. So, bitte means please. You're welcome. Can also mean here you go, like when you're handing somebody something. Okay. So it's kind of a multi-purpose one. Pronouns are the next. Anybody tell me what a pronoun is in English? No, maybe, yes.
It's like a name or a place or...
Like you think a person, place, thing, or idea. Those are the nouns, yeah? What's a pronoun? No, it's plural. A pronoun is the I, you, he, she, it, something that takes the place of that noun. So instead of saying, you know, Tony, you would say he. So he is a pronoun. Okay? So today you're going to learn the German pronouns, which in German is Pronomen, but we're just going to leave it as pronouns. Some of them you already know. Okay. Wie sagt man I? How do you say I? That's one 2 days ago. Ich. Yeah, everybody, ich. Okay. Remember, it's not capitalized. So not. What about you? Do. Good. And we'll talk about this one in a second and what this means. Should not. Okay, but it's for one person, so it's singular. And it's informal. Okay. What about he? Er, good. And you had the wie heißt er. What about she? Sie. Mm-hmm. Make sure it's a little s. We'll change the meaning if you capitalize it, which you'll see soon. One of the ways to say it. Ist means is. S is how you say it. Everybody try that one. S.
S.
Like the letter of the alphabet. That's an R. Try that one. Veer. Okay. Veer means we. And they both start with a W. That might help you remember it. Oh, I flip-flopped the English and the German on that, didn't I? There, let's go for consistency. There we go. Next one is for y'all. So it's you, plural, and it's informal. And again, we'll talk about that in a second. And that is ear, like what's on your head. Okay. Everybody try that one. Ear.
Ear.
Then we have you formal. And this one doesn't matter if it's singular or plural. Okay, and we'll talk about that in a second again. This one is Z, but it's a big S. It's capitalized. It's the only pronoun that is capitalized. But it's pronounced the same as the other Z. And then we've got they, which is another lowercase z. So we have 3 Z's, 2 lowercase and 1 uppercase. How many of you have taken a language before where there's been, or know anything about a language where there's been formal and informal? Okay. How many Spanish? Most of you? French? Okay, a couple. So, Spanish, I know very little about, but I know a little bit. So like usted or whatever, that's their formal, is that right? Okay. So we have, I think in Spanish, do they have plural formal and singular formal? Like usted and ustedes and stuff like that, yeah? Okay. So in German, it's just the one, which is kind of nice. So when you are using the formal, for those of you who aren't quite familiar, formal you use, it's a version of respect. You can only use it when you're talking directly to a person. Okay, so it's a form of you. Okay, but if they're older than you, or they're in their place of employment, okay, or you're just not sure. So when in doubt, that's when you should be using the formal. Okay. So if you are talking to a teacher, for example, with me, you should practice using the formal once I teach it to you. Okay. So you would use the Z form instead of the du. Okay. You guys are younger than me, so I would use the informal with you. Okay. Although in Germany you might actually see teachers, especially at college level, professors and stuff, they tend to use the formal back and forth with their students. Okay. There are even people who are friends or like work together for a long time. Like the school we do the exchange with, they have teachers who have taught together for 20 years who still use the formal with each other. And it depends on the person and the kind of relationship that they have and stuff like that. But there are other people that I go over there as an exchange person. So obviously I don't spend that much time with them. But because of the kind of quick relationship that we build and the type of relationship that we have, within the first week or so, they'll tell me to use the informal with them. So the person who's of the higher authority or the older age is the person who's to tell you when it's okay to use the informal. So until they do that, you shouldn't do it. It's considered disrespectful. Okay. So informal is for people your own age or younger, traditionally. Okay, so your age or younger. And with family members especially. The exception to that might be something like if you come from a very military style of family Sometimes they'll, if, I've heard some families that I've had in the past, very military, so they would ask for, like, sir is how they would refer to their dad. So in that case, they would use the formal. Okay, but for the most part, for family, use the informal. And pets, you're not gonna use the formal with your pets. Okay? So that comes up. Even if it's Mr. Ed. Do you guys even know who Mr. Ed is anymore? I got one nod. TV show back in the day, it was a horse that talked, supposedly. Yeah. Okay. So even Mr. Ed, you use the informal. Okay? So that's the basic gist of the formal versus informal. So remember, when in doubt, use the formal. The benefit to that, too, is that the verbs are easier to conjugate for the formal. Okay, so it makes it easier. Okay. But you'll always be more respectful if you do anyway, and wait for the other person, who, if they're older than you, to tell you. Okay? So they actually have verbs for that. You don't need to write this part down. But if you're supposed to use the formal, so you recognize the Z. It's lowercase, though, because it's a verb. So they have sitzen, which is to use the formal. And they have du, dutzen, to use the informal. Okay. Are there questions about that right now? Look like most of you have encountered it before anyway, so that's good. Good deal.